Hello, my name is FRANCESFOX. We're here. Another mistake on my part. I put Fox Mind News. I discovered the structure of the mind, which is composed of strings, and it is actually what they're looking for in string theory, but I was not intending on talking about that today. I intended on talking about Revelations. Now, Revelations has been in the Bible 2,000 years, but the Mayans told us about it, the dolphins, etc. The indigenous know that this is a time of destruction of society, and interesting that we actually don't need for any outside force to come in for our society to be destroyed. All we need to do is wake up to what it is that's going on that for some mysterious reason we did not know about as we lived it. So I'm going to explain. In the age of Pisces, which is the age in which Christ in the Bible was very important, the structure of power in the other dimensions was circular. Excuse me, triangular. The big guy at the top, everybody else underneath serving the big guy at the top. And now we're in the age of Aquarius, and that is collapsing, and it's collapsing with a big bang now and a bigger bang pretty soon. Now the structure of power is circular, which is totally compatible with the age of Aquarius, which I guess is why there was that change. And everybody's created equal, etc. And the shift between the two ways that power is structured and the differences in society under one structure, such as the triangle, and then the community with the circle, that is everything. The definition of the word power is the ability to do and the ability to act. It doesn't include the word abuse, even though a lot of people have abused their powers. There has been an abuse of power by people that were in that triangular structure and were at the bottom, but not limited to the bottom, having to do with magic. And I know I pay attention and come to my own conclusions because I want to understand. In terms of a lot of people that use black magic, they're people that feel powerless and they want to feel powerful someplace. And unfortunately, many of them turn to black magic, which means that they can get their way or they can get back at the person that did something to them, or they can get themselves better positioned. The problem with that type of magic is that the first law of this planet, or the most important, having to do with God and how, whatever your version of God is free will. That human beings are allowed to be good, bad, mediocre, whatever they want to be. It's allowed. And you're not supposed to interfere with people's free will. You're not supposed to get in the way of, some people could say, their karma. You know, that old saying, I think we've all heard, that if you're Chinese and you say somebody's life, you're responsible for that person from here until forever. It didn't make any sense to us, but it does make sense if you widen your lens. So I must be being worked on right now because my mind is like slipping, and I'm totally here. I want to be totally present, but I'm getting some frequencies thrown at me. So you'll excuse me if I look, because I have to go back and grab what I was going to say and bring it back to now. So I noticed that a lot of people, lots of women, use black magic to control, to feel more powerful, to feel like they can get their way, or to get back at somebody that did something to them. And then you have just regular people that are not women, men, that use it having to do with their prosperity, to position themselves for a job, to make their bosses give them raises, to take down a new boss that comes in that they know is not going to tolerate the way they work, so they take them down. And then we have other people that are much more sophisticated, that have understood through the ages that magic exists on planet Earth, and that if you can use it, it's an incredible tool. This is through the ages. You've seen it on the walls of when we discover ancient civilizations with the Egyptians. So magic has always been around. And then you get governments that use it, like in Venezuela. Chavez, I think, was supposed to have unburied a particular historical figure that everybody reveres in order to use the bones for some black magic rituals. Whether that's accurate or not, enough people have said it that I suspect that it is. So when the people of Venezuela complain about this, I go, yeah, but you know what? It really needed to have been stopped at another level. He's just a person and he ended up being in power, therefore he used it. The whole issue of magic is very important. And one of the things that's making me really happy now, today in particular, is that those people that have been able to get away with doing black magic aren't going to get away with it anymore. The whole issue of Diddy, I think that's the way you pronounce his name, the musician, the rapper, and all the stuff that's coming out with all the blood and the gore and all the rest of that, that's black magic. In my world, that's black magic. That's also part of Santeria that is considered by some people to be a religion. But it's a religion that includes sacrificing animals. And then the people that get into it really deeply go into a lot of other stuff that they would never want for anybody, including their family, to find out. Well, I'm not going to reveal the stuff, but it's horrifying. But it's coming out anyway. As they unravel the threads of stuff that's done behind the scenes and the people that get involved that think they're going to a dinner party and they're going to experience some magic. If it has to be hidden, if it has to be restricted, if you would be embarrassed if everybody found out about it, you know what? Don't do it, because you are going to be exposed now. Why did you do it? You only did it because you thought you could get away with it. And then you walk around with this incredible smile on your face at the people that you're taking down through black magic. Not cool, but also it's not karma. You have to work with the ages that you're in. If we are in Revelations, and we've known this for 2,000 years, then maybe you shouldn't have done all those things. Maybe you should have been more open, widen your lens, and not just look at your life from when you were born, Second World War, or afterwards, whenever it is you were born. Everybody was born after me. I'm the oldest person here. To now, widen your lens. You're Christian, you're Catholic. It's in the Bible, Revelations. What did you think? It was just going to reveal the stuff about the politicians? It's going to reveal the stuff about you too. Okay. My goal in this incarnation is to teach magic. The place I have learned the most is witnessing through remote viewing black magic. They know a lot. They take those strings, Fox Mind News, they take the mind is channeled through strings and they can tie you up. They've been doing that for centuries. And then we have the scientists talking about string theory and they don't connect the dots. The word in Spanish for when they tie you up is called amarre. It means tie up. What do they tie you up with? With strings. Your own strings, your own mind, they tie it up. Nobody noticed. No scientist gets caught up with santeros and curanderos and black magicians. This compartmentalizing of information. Like the other day, someone introduced me as being an astrologer. I said, I'm not an astrologer. If you held a gun to my head, I could not do an astrological chart. Couldn't do it. I'm not trained in it. I don't want to be trained in it. I use remote viewing the same way I do it for businesses and when somebody's sick and there's a mystery and what happened here. I never do it for who stole my jewelry. I don't do that kind of. So, see, my mind just left again. Magic exists. Magic is a creating of reality or changing of reality from the other dimensions without having to actually move something on the physical dimension. The more powerful your mind is, the more focused you are, the more you maintain your focus on that intention in that piece of magic, the more you vitalize it, breathe into it, the stronger it becomes. Human beings have always been magical. We've always had these powers, and sometime parts of our history we have utilized them more, and then there kind of seems to be like a darkness that comes over the planet, and then people lose it and they end up, you know, on their knees, um, sowing crops, um, which is not a bad thing to do, but perhaps that is not what they would have chosen to do and they didn't have an option. So the whole thing with magic, we shouldn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Magic is good. It's what is your intention behind it? What is your intention behind it? And that is what I want for people to understand. And I know I have a lot of followers who have a lot of awareness of black magic. I have too many followers who still have one foot in black magic because it's part of their culture. But I give the examples. You're a female, you want this man, he's not cooperating, he's not ready to get married, and you decide to do something to settle him down so that he can agree to get married because you took away all that erratic energy that he had. And you get married, and then 12 years later, you come to me and say, could you please do an aura analysis of my husband because he's like a couch potato. He doesn't do anything. And when I look, that same person who's paying me to now check what's going on did black magic on that man in order to subdue his energies because he was too erratic. In other words, he wasn't agreeing to what she wanted. And now they're running into the consequences. They have a couch potato. And a person that's probably sitting there on the couch wanting to die because they're not happy and they don't quite know what to do. And they don't know how they got there because they don't know that they have black magic. And then the mothers that do black magic on their children to stop them from doing something they think is crazy. Or because a teacher complains that the kid is too erratic, is too active because they're ADHD, and the person takes the kid to a curandera, santero, or just takes a photograph. You don't have to take the person. And they do something to tone the kid down. 6 or 7 years later, I'm getting paid to figure out what's the matter. The kid's massively depressed. He doesn't want to get out of bed. And then I go, wait a second. Somebody did black magic on him so many years ago. And then, thank God, a lot of my followers are very honest. They go, well, I had, the lady in the corner do something because he was going to get thrown out of school. And what could I do? Whatever. So there are consequences. And it's not easy to have to wait for things to unfold. I myself am very impatient. I don't want to wait. I want it now. So too many people go to magic in order to get what it is that they want. And I was explaining to somebody the other day, each country has a different way. There's a different quality to their black magic. It's just different. Like in Argentina, totally hidden. You'll never find out about it. You'll never know about it. You can't tell from their faces. You can't tell from but Argentinians are very private. I mean, extremely private. Other countries, I could go into descriptives that you might find funny, but that maybe the people from that country would be so happy with me. So let's not get myself into trouble. My goal is to teach you about magic, and I'm not going to stop using that word because people have used magic with ill intentions. Magic is the ability to change reality with the mind. The reason for a ritual is it helps you to focus and to keep your focus and to keep your focus and to keep your focus and to keep energizing that intention. But you don't have to do a ritual. Prayer is magic. If you can keep your focus, if you get enough people to keep their focus on an intention, you can create a turnaround in people's health and in companies. We have examples of that all the time. My usual example, a woman sees her kid under the wheel of a car. She's overweight, never worked out in her life, and all of a sudden, magically, she can pick up the car and pull her kid out. That's magic. That's focused intention with absolutely no allowing of hesitation to come in. So we all can learn to be magical, and we should. Meanwhile, I am going to enjoy this space of time because a lot of people that have been getting away with murder in terms of my personal life are now going to be hiding in closets, behind doors, under rugs, committing suicide. I have no doubt that there will be several of them committing suicide. No doubt, because they know that people are going to find out. Nobody's going to put them in jail because they do black magic. No, even though there have been some cases, one in Europe, which I found very interesting, but they cannot go into society again because they never revealed how it is that they got that contract, they got that woman or that man, they got in the position they were in, or they did everything else that was super abusive. So I am very happy today because the revelations that are coming out in Hollywood are really good for me because I am not the problem. And the people that have been controlling me here in Miami have a much bigger problem on their hands now that this is all coming out. And that was an intention of mine over 40 years ago, that everybody know about magic. At which time you have to know about black magic. You don't have to know how to do it, but you have to know about it. You have to know both sides. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to talk about this until I'm right before I die, because all those black magicians, santeros, curanderos, are going to go after me. They're after me anyway. They're getting paid. Now, I suspect they're not going to be accepting these little jobs or these little contracts very much anymore, having to do with people that are connected to anything political or anything that could come out in the news, because they're going to get taken down. We are living in such fascinating times. So why don't we take advantage of all the information that's coming out? All the darkness has something to teach us. And it's not that you throw yourself into the darkness. No, no. I had to be born into it. And I'm still at 75 trying to get out. I do have a recommendation for anybody who's a mind control victim. You need to document who's ever controlling you, and you need to send it to 20 people, okay? Half of whom are not going to be willing to whatever. And your handler needs to know that they can take you down, but their name is going to be out there. They are so incredibly, they have been confident in their ability to either buy off officials or do enough black magic on them to control them. They didn't care when I took photographs of them. I must have 50 photographs, license plates. They didn't care. They did not care. No, nothing was going to happen to them. Revelations. Nothing's going to happen. I actually don't have to do anything. Revelations is going to take care of it for me. Magic, you need to be open to it. You need to go, how do they do that? How did they do that? How do you get somebody to change their mind? Well, have you defended your mind? Is your mind solid? Do you have your elements balanced? Or are you exhausted, electro addicted, which means your mind is really, really weak? All this radiation and Wi-Fi and all of it makes the mind very weak. Particularly if you don't have a balance of the elements. And we know you don't have a balance of the elements. We know that you don't go outside as much as you're on your computer. When you go outside, you have your cell phone radiating your private parts. And then you wonder why in the world people cannot reproduce themselves. Why is there so much pornography? Pornography is to stimulate. Why are all these men needing to be stimulated? Why can't they be stimulated by their wives or the women in the street, or go out and date, or pay a prostitute? I don't think there's anything the matter with paying a prostitute, as long as this is a consensual relationship, etc. Why do so many men need pornography, which in my description is, it's like putting your finger in an electrical socket until you finally feel some kind of stimulation. Why? Well, I think if we didn't have a cell phone in the pockets and if we didn't have mothers radiating their children in utero, we wouldn't be having this problem. And I think that if you take the time to correlate the countries that have the lowest fertility rate, you're going to find that they are the countries with the highest level of radiating devices, the more technologically advanced. I don't think they have this problem in the jungle. The issue of needing pornography. There's so much pornography is because people need it. If they love it, it's because they really need it and it's really working for them. This is not good. A lot of things are happening that are not good. But today, there's a very good thing happening, which is that those people that have controlled all of us, not just me, through black magic behind the scenes, as they're showing up in fine restaurants, in Coral Gables and other places, as if they were really nice people and totally supportive of nice communities, philanthropic, never thought it would come out. Well, you know what? No, you know what? It's not going to come out through me because it doesn't have to. And until recently, I felt bad for these old men that I personally have to deal with. I don't feel bad anymore. There were 1,000 times in which they could have stepped back and just been decent human beings or just walked away from whatever it is that the group was deciding to do to me and to a lot of my loved ones. That's it. I'm going to say only one more statement, and then we're going to go into the healing part of this. And I forgot the statement. They're definitely radiating me, and it's coming in from this side. Okay. Today on X, there was a photograph of the Dalai Lama sitting next to a girl who had no arms. She had mechanical metal arms until here. And his hand was on her, and he kept going up and down with his hand. And somebody said, another weird picture of the Dalai Lama. I looked. He was sending energy into her arm. I have done that 1,000 times. You don't have to say anything. He had his arm, his hand, on this part of her and was going like this. Except he was on the other side, so his hand ended up here. He was not. It was totally not sexual. But there we go with the paranoia. How do you know? How do you know? That's why you have to follow me, because I have the power of induction, and your psychic abilities are going to get stronger by following me. And you don't have to believe a word I say. Just take the information and you put it there. It's going to explain a lot of things. I don't blame the paranoia about what the Dalai Lama was doing, because you don't know that you can give a wonderful healing with the hands. I can teach you in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. I can teach a kid interspecies communication in 5 minutes, probably less, because there's no block. I just say, you can do this. I just did this. You can do this. Now do it. And they go, oh, the dog said this. Could that be right? Yeah, that's right. Oh, and they keep going back. It's easy. And maybe you need to learn it, because maybe we've all been too controlled by magic and we haven't been aware of it. Some of the marketing, they've learned some basics. And it's not, and it's complicated and it's not complicated. And the good news is it's all coming out, and not in the wash. It's coming out in the news, and people are adding up. And so I used to argue with my control about things that were discovered and I felt should be shared with the public. He said, no, we're not going to do that. No, but I think this is not right. They're not going to believe it anyway. They don't want the responsibility. They just want to get home and sit in front of the TV and watch television, then go to bed, and next night do the same thing. They don't want the responsibility of the information. And in a sense, he was right, because when I came out of the psychic closet, not the gay closet, the psychic closet in the 90s, and told everybody the part of my history I had pulled together. Basically, nobody believed me. So that's okay, because that's not information that was out there. What's not okay is that they were not in touch with their instincts. They were so busy trying to defend themselves emotionally that they couldn't deal with whatever their heart, intelligence of their heart, or their instincts would tell them. That's going to happen with a lot of things that are going to come out. People are going to, they're doing it now with UFOs. They're struggling with it. And why do you keep asking, why doesn't the government reveal? They did. The astronauts that are totally controlled by the government have said it several times that they saw spaceships. What more do you want? You want somebody else to do it for you. Look at how everything got much lighter. You don't want the responsibility. You're afraid of getting isolated, left alone. People saying you're crazy like they've done to me for 30 years, which was horrible to live. But I have to say that I wouldn't have been able to do all of this if I hadn't been left alone and ostracized, become an outcast, have basically everybody in total agreement that I was completely crazy. And me not really being able to say, the people that handle me, you pay them a ton of money and you respect them a lot when they give you scientific information. They're the ones. You think that they would spend all this time with me and people like me? I'm not the only person. If they didn't believe in it, they obviously they use it against you. I couldn't say that, because that would have put me in a dangerous position. So I am going to enjoy this next phase, and there's going to be a lot of people hiding in closets, behind doors. There's going to be a lot of people committing suicide. Lots of people, because they can't take it. And why? If their lens had been wide enough and they had incorporated historical knowledge of this planet, this would have never happened to them. They would have gone, we're getting into Revelations. Let me just start to clean up my act, or let me not do that. They didn't. They lived this, which is what I'm trying to get you to stop living. I want you to go like this. And you're going to need to do that, because when the collapse comes, because there will definitely be a collapse, if you know and are magical, you can create your reality and not have to be part of the collapse. We're going to go ahead. I have talked for an awful lot of minutes. This Cuban thing, by the way, there is a homeopathic remedy that I ran out of that I need to get. It's called graphite. I'm going to put it here. Graphite. Probably made from graphite. What is this homeopathic remedy for? For when you talk too much. For when you say more than you're supposed to say, or than what you intended on saying. I ran out. Got to get it again. Oh, but they don't sell it in this country. It's a little liquid, and you take 4 drops, and it's homeopathy, history, 5,000 years of history. Nobody ever was harmed by homeopathy, but we don't sell it in this country. We will sell you pills that are $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, and that have this long list of side effects, but we will not sell you homeopathy. So you have to get it in Europe and get it and pay that, $20 shipping in order to get a little bottle like this. But I ran out, and I promise you that I'm going to get it. So let's put the white dress up, figure out from 1 to 10, how do you feel? From 1 to 10. Oh, that's better. I always see a section of it at the bottom dark, but I would say it's cleaned up 50%, which is a very good thing. So compare this to the other times, and we're going to go deep again. Are we going to go deep? No. We're going to go beautiful. How's that? I am feeling so much more optimistic. Hold on. I am a happy camper. This is going to happen. Yes. No, I'm not bipolar. This is, if you're in my position, it's like a roller coaster having to do with what comes out in the news. So you could say it's bipolar, but it's really the craziness that we're living. Okay, here is the mantra. Actually, I don't have the mantra out yet. Oh well. I can feel people that have listened, my enemies that are listening to this chat, and I can feel them sighing and like, I don't want anybody to commit suicide. Not a good way to end. And then it leaves people asking too many questions. So it's not a good idea. Okay, guys? Don't do it. Your family is going to keep asking questions until they find out why, and then they're going to find out anyway. So don't do it. Start cleaning up. You know what? There's a couple of people on X that have found religion. They're already preparing for revelations. But when you're a good psychic, you can see the energy that comes out of their mouth, the color, and you can see whether they're telling the truth or not. Okay? So we're going to do 15 minutes of this. In metaphysics, for a couple hundred years at least, I don't know before, Medusas were considered ETs. And they are, and they have all those strings. Those are mind strings. Okay. Going back to the homeopathy. The people that used to sell homeopathy in the United States packed up their bags and left, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago when the government passed a law. But the number one homeopathic remedy for sports injuries, for when your back aches, for when you got hit, you were in a car accident, you have a facelift, the number one sports remedy in the world is homeopathic, and it's called Traumeel. I'm going to put the name here because everyone should have this in their medicine cabinet. And no, I'm not making any money off of this. And it comes in injections, it comes in pills, it comes in liquid. Homeopathy takes care of the emotional component of whatever it is that's ailing you. And because science discovered 30, 40 years ago that tissue holds memory, if you get in a car accident and the doctor fixes your broken bones and you do your chiropractic and you do your acupuncture, the whole 9 yards, but that shoulder is never the same again, even though it's fine according to medicine, you never took care of how frightened, how your fear when you had that accident is still lodged in those muscles. And with these kind of homeopathic remedies, you take care of that part of it. Why am I saying this here? Because honestly, the truth of the matter is there's an awful lot that can help you to stay on track in the middle of chaos. And another remedy that they make, which was probably the best selling, they don't make, this is not homeopathic, these are flower essences. It's called Rescue Remedy. And it's from flowers. And if you are in shock, very frightened, that's the remedy that you should have. And I know of many people, including myself, the very small bottles that I used to run around with a bottle of it in my pocket. A lot of business people, I think people have kind of forgotten about it, but it's very, very, very good for soothing you when you are upset, frightened, etc. So you might want to stock up on those two, having to do with what's coming up next on the planet, because I think it's going to be very disconcerting. I'm going to put the white dress up and I'm going to explain something to you. I noticed in this white dress that there were sections that were darker. It wasn't just all bright gold and bright white. And I have been able to establish that the sections that are darker have to do with sections of me that are darker, that still need purification and still need light. Everything is information. God left us so much information and maps to where we are at, all having to do with our personal evolution, so that we can be all that we can be, which at this point includes superpowers. So you just need to learn astrology as a map. Somebody mapped the entire physical body, every inch of it, having to do with what flower essence would take care of the issue that that particular part of the body has a problem with. And I know it looks like I'm deviating. I'm not deviating from anything. I'm doing whatever the hell I want to do today because I'm really happy. So when I was working a lot with flower essences many years ago, I had a client, and at that point I still saw people physically, and she was sitting across from me, and I said, what happened to you? She had something on her arm. She said, oh, I burned myself with the iron. And she said, oh, don't worry about it. And I said, no, let's look it up. She said, you don't have to look it up. I burned myself with an iron. See, that's the addiction to the physical dimension. She was like, what's the problem? I already know what's the matter with me. I burned it with the iron. I put aloe vera on it and whatever, and it's fine. I said, no, let's find out why. And she said to me, I burned it with an iron, Frances. That's why I have that. I went, why don't we go a little bit deeper? And I said, why don't you be patient with me a minute? Okay. So I bring out the book with the map. It's called Dr. Bach Flower Essence Body Maps. Dr. Bach, B-A-C-H, Flower Essence Body Maps. And when I looked it up, it had something about feeling mentally confused because there were too many changes going on. So I said to her, I read the description. I said, is this how you've been feeling? And she said, how did you know? I said, because that part of your arm corresponds, the fact that the aura on that part of your arm was broken allowed you to get burnt. If not, that wouldn't have burned. And that is the energy that is stuck there, and that it can heal with this particular flower essence. And I don't remember what the flower essence were. She was in shock. She was like, how could you know that? There's a map. There's a lot of maps out there, and you need to get familiar with them. This is much more fun than all the other stuff. This whole magic thing, white magic, good intentions, is a lot more fun. Okay, so I am actually going to contact the company that makes the graphite and tell them they need to make a stronger dosage for people that are Cuban, because I'm half Cuban, and traditionally we are known to talk an awful lot. I don't think it's that people want to shut us up. We just talk a lot. Fidel Castro, he would give speeches for 7 hours, and people would be standing in the sun. Now, I think he wasn't just giving a speech. I think they were doing some kind of spell work or something. That's a long time, even for a Cuban, okay? I'm not going to get the graphite by tomorrow, so if you didn't like this, maybe you don't want to come back tomorrow. I will see you.